on the bike descending, and are we all pretty good with our one finger braking? Index finger only, not middle finger braking, but index finger braking. The little hook, everybody identify the hook on the outside of your brake levers. Your index finger needs to be on that hook. If you're in here, we need to adjust your cockpit a little bit because you're not getting the full benefit of the leverage of your lever, if that makes sense. So one finger braking out here. Our basic position and the way that we constantly reset and check our position is what we call the neutral bounce. So anytime on your bike, especially before a descent, you bounce on your feet. You're not bouncing on your hands, you bounce on your feet. So all of our weight is on our feet. We stand on our bikes. Okay? It doesn't bounce very good back here. It feels awkward. It doesn't bounce very good here. The good bounce is right in the middle. Any skiers in the group? No? Yeah. When we ski, we're in the middle of our skis. We're not forward, we're not back. Okay? So the neutral bounce is something you can do anytime you're on the trail. Little bounce. Notice my elbows are out. That keeps my face over the stem. I'm not back here. I'm not back here. I'm here. So my chin is up, and I'm looking to head down the trail. That's the basics. Back isn't completely flat, but it's close to flat. Chin is up. That's your descending position. That's neutral position, attack position, whatever you want to call it. We're not sitting on our seats going down hills.
One really important thing that Dave was doing, you notice, his elbows and his knees are active. That is your suspension, way more than your bicycle. If you're real rigid, all you're going to do is get sort of ricocheted around off the bike. So real important to arms or knees and elbows to be shock absorbing.
And to that, if we have the death grip and we're tensed, all that energy is transmitted up into our heads, and we can't do the most important part of descending, which is reading the trail ahead of us, scanning the trail. So it makes mountain biking fun. We have to be engaged in our sport. We have to look ahead. It's constantly changing. We're looking for the berm. You guys all understand that? We're looking for anything that we can get traction on to corner, because that's the tricky part of mountain biking is cornering. So right here, the corner here, it's kind of flat and falling away. My bike wants to do this. I don't have really good traction, right? But right up here, I've got great traction. I've got that berm. So you're always looking for that angle that you can get the traction on. But if the angle's going the other way, you know you're not going to get traction. This is an extreme example. Back here, right? You're going to fall right down the hill. So you're always looking for whatever has that face that you can get a purchase on. And it might be one rock stuck in earth right here. I can get a little bit of purchase off that one. It's kind of a loose rock. It's a bad example. This root, that's a good berm right there. No way. Okay? This backside, not good. I'm going to fall right off of this. Okay, so that's part of reading the terrain, seeing what's out there. There's a lot of, most double tracks and single tracks are concave. So if they're concave, what am I looking for? Always the outside of those things. The double track has two concave tracks, and it goes to the left. If I'm on the inside of this one, but then I creep up and get to the top of it, okay, I'm losing my traction. I've got to run straight now until I fall into the next one, and then pick up that berm. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you really want to start looking for all the different places where you can identify that positive traction, and also the places where you're not going to have good traction. Flat surfaces with loose, dry are really tough. In other words, if you're going down the trail and it's dead flat and gravelly, what do you need to do? Slow down. Because if you go into that too hot, you're never going to make that turn.
So is that what you said, slow, fast, quick before you get to it?
Take your speed. Okay, and so now we're hopefully we're not overloading you guys.
No, it's good.
The next thing is braking. Instead of braking a little bit all the time, we want to let our bikes roll. When we say let them roll, the bike is rolling with no brakes. That's rolling. This is not rolling with brakes. Okay, so we want to let the bike roll as much as we can. So we want to brake purposefully and hard and then get off the brakes again. So identify those places where you can do it. This trail is pretty mellow, so we'll be able to do this. We'll be able to let go of our bikes, let it get up to speed. If it's a long straightaway and it's pretty smooth, just let your bike roll. Let it get going fast. Then you see a turn coming and maybe it drops away. But right above that turn, there's a nice place. You're like, I can get my speed under control there. And then you get on the brakes and slow down a bunch.
When you said it levels out a little bit, now do you sit down on your seat or you stay up still?
You're always standing up. And the one time you can bring your weight back is when you do brake with purpose, you get back. pretend I'm going really fast, and then I'm going to brake hard. I get back a little bit over the rear wheel. All you're doing is you're driving the rear wheel into the ground so that you get more braking effort. And truly, I can be going really fast and say this is really cobbling, I'm cruising through here, but I identify from here to the tree as a good braking platform. What's that, 30 feet? I can be going 30 miles an hour, get on my brakes hard right here, get my speed down without skidding, release the brakes here, and now I'm letting the bike roll again. If it's a turn, if you're coming into a sharp left turn, brake before the turn. You've all heard that. Maybe you've also heard never brake in the turn. Right. That's wrong. You can drag your brakes absolutely through turns. And we do it all the time. We don't brake hard through turns. You can drag your brakes. If you can let go of them, great. But a lot of people can't do it, and I'm one of them. I mean, I can get through some turns, but some turns are falling away fast. And if you let go of your brakes, you're going to be going way too fast. So brake with purpose before the turn, and as you need to, it's okay to drag your brakes through the turn. You have to be a little careful with it because you're turning, but you can do it. That's really one of the most important things. So neutral bounce, neutral position, elbows out, 38 Special. What's their most famous song? Hold on loosely.
Yes.
Never let go.
Don't let go.
So
What year is that, Dave?
you're not that young, Rebecca. Before you were born.
He's showing his age.
So we want to hold on loosely because then we're not. It doesn't come. But never let go. You don't want to get bounced off the bars, but you don't want to have that death grip on your bars. Okay, so we want to let the bike really take a lot of the stuff. Rolling through dips, let your brakes go for that split second through those dips. Let the bike roll through.
You shift your weight back, not to interrupt you, but do you go back then on your seat?
No, stay neutral.
Even on those dips,
There's
you're
one
going
thing
like
Yes,
that's hard to
absolutely. You're right on top of your bike. You're letting the bike come up. If I'm stiff though, if I'm stiff over those bumps, I'm going to get launched.
Right.
If I'm loose and let the bike come up and use the knees and the elbows that Rebecca's talking about as shock absorbers, I'm going to do this. The bike's going to come up into me. I don't know if there's a good place to practice that on this trail.
So that one on Powerline, did you guys ever hit
At the
those?
bottom of Powerline, there's about 4 of them, and at the top of Powerline,
There's one on
those are
top,
classic, drainage features that they build to drain the roads. And they're
I almost
St.
said I
Kevin's
could,
has them,
I got height on
and you want to be careful with those. A lot of people like to jump them, and
Hell no.
jumping's cool if you like that, but I suggest, we call it sucking them up. When you suck them up, that means that you can just hit them, and the bike never leaves the ground, and it's your entire body being a bit of a shock absorber. And you do that by, it's really hard to describe it, but you might even extend a little bit before those so that the bike can come up, and then you can absorb it with your knees and your elbows. Slow down for them though, especially. You're not going to make up a bunch of time, going too fast on those. Did you guys have to, on the Powerline descent, the lower part, did you have to cross over? All of a sudden your line changes and you've got to do kind of a sketchy, let your brakes go for that split second so your bike rolls through that, and then get back on them. Up here, if you see like a really cobbly section that's scary, but then you see that nice braking platform below it, let your bike roll through that. These bikes love rolling through that stuff, and they won't be affected.
how much spacing should you get? Like, not your level.
Today,
No, like at the race. Like our level. 10-hour, 11-hour.
spacing on a descent,
Yeah.
it's really personal. I mean, if you leave too big a gap, guys are going to fill in. They're going to pass you and fill that gap. But you want to be safe. I mean, 10 or 11 hours, there's nothing that's going to happen that's in a small scale like that that's going to affect your race. A big crash will affect it. So leave a comfortable gap. But you're going to come across someone that you might want to pass because they're going that slow and being that cautious, which is fine. and just do that carefully, maybe. I'd say 8 out of 10.
But sometimes if you're too close, you couldn't see ahead. Like that was one of my problems. I couldn't see anything, so I chose. I'm like, okay, let me let these guys go.
Yeah.
And I could
Yeah,
hit the
no,
road.
absolutely. So you need to make those decisions are personal, but yeah, more room gives you a chance to see the terrain. I was going to say, I bet 8 out of 10 crashes are caused by grabbing brakes, because when you grab brakes, things happen, and the tires wash out. So the panic reaction is typically grabbing brake, and that can cause a crash. Your panic reaction should almost be, oh, this is a horrible section of trail, no brakes. So your bike rolls through it. What are you looking for?
braking area.
your braking platform down below. And if it's steep and nasty, your braking could almost be, instead of just a little bit all the time, it's hard here, let them go. Hard here, let them go. Hard here, let them go. Look for those little places. You get used to that purposeful braking, that hard braking. You're scrubbing your speed, and you're getting off of them and letting the bike roll. Let's go down here just once, and let's go kind of slow and look at it this first time, and then we'll just start doing laps. And then you guys can see we've got a few different things going on, but more than anything, it's that neutral position. Work on the neutral bounce. It's great.